Hey everybody, Chris with the Entrepreneur Motivation Podcast. Today's message is to just show up. 98% of success is just showing up. I continue to believe this is true. I go to a lot of networking events. I meet with a lot of people. I get coffee. I connect with entrepreneurs, with other business owners, with people I'm not even sure how we can work together. I still give it a chance. I've talked about being selective with your time and to be careful, right? You don't want to waste your time. But it's always worth at least having a first meeting. See how you can help each other out. If you're getting pitched completely, then okay, I get it if you don't want to necessarily spend time with a certain person because they're kind of just trying to sell you on some product or to going to some event or whatever the case may be. But be open to stuff, right? So here's an example. My friend Rishi, shout out to Rishi, he made an introduction and said, hey, one of my colleagues that I know, his son is looking for a job. I thought I could connect you, maybe you can help out somehow. And I wasn't exactly sure how to help, and I'm not a recruiter or anything, but I know people. And I said, yeah, sure, connect me. Here's my email. Feel free to have him reach out to me. Happy to see how I can help however I can. And then I just actually met with this contact this morning who is the CEO of a nonprofit organization in the Houston area. The nonprofit organization helps people who have debilitating issues like autism, Parkinson's, dementia, memory care help, and things like that. And so we just talked for an hour and a half about how, what he does, what I do, my podcast, our mutual connection, Rishi, about his son. We just talked about everything, not knowing exactly where it would go. And we left the conversation as he's going to have his son reach out to me. I'm going to see how I can help. He also happens to have a son-in-law who has a pretty successful business. Maybe he can introduce me to him. I can interview him on the podcast. A new connection will be made. And you never know where things are going to go, right? So another example of how 98% of success is just showing up. I showed up to an appointment probably over a year ago to look at a house. It was a hoarder house. There was stuff everywhere. The realtor invited me out. It was like her uncle or brother or somebody that she knew. So I had a shot to make an offer, a cash offer on that house with the wholesaling company I was a part of. Unfortunately, they accepted another offer instead of ours. They thought they wanted to sell it to an individual investor versus a big company. And that was like the worst objection ever because we weren't really a big company. We were like 7 or 8 people at the time. But anyways, she texted me yesterday out of the blue. I hadn't talked to her for like 7 or 8 months. And she texted me to come out and see another property that came up, that needs some work. And I said, yeah, I'll see you there. Am I going to meet with the seller? Am I going to meet with you? She's a real estate agent. And she's like, you'll meet with us both. We're going to open up the door. You can see everything. And then put together your numbers or whatever you need to do. And so I showed up. I'm not sure if I can make a deal out of it. I'm not sure if when I make an offer or if I try to bring a buyer that they're going to accept it. But you've got to show up. If you don't show up, you're not going to have any opportunities. How are you going to have opportunities if you refuse to show up? Another opportunity I said yes to, there's a guy who locally hosts an event, a business networking event, and the last one that he had over 200 people show up to the event. And it's people from all different backgrounds, real estate agents, from oil and gas industry, startups. I think I mentioned at this last event, I ran into a few people I used to work with at my oil and gas job that have since been laid off and they're looking to network and find new careers or new jobs. And so I'm meeting with one of the guys who put that event together because they've been doing it for about 2 years and they've grown it to such a number where obviously the guy who puts it on is a financial advisor. So he's probably getting clients off that meeting. His name is on every single event whenever he sends it out. And it's like, hey, I'll see you at the next event next month. Here's my contact information. Here's what I do. Do you need wealth advising services? Do you need financial services? Reach out to me. Him and his partner, their names are on the email. And they don't ever pitch really at the events or anything. It's just adding value, making connections, but they are getting credit for putting these things together. So I'm about to meet with him. I'm always outside of a coffee shop for these Thursday meetings. I just decide to record this from the car. It just tends to be that I'm already out and about on the road, going on appointments and going about my day. So the car ends up being a good spot to record. But I'm about to meet with him at another coffee shop here. It's always good. It's always convenient to set up these appointments in a place that is located near you. because check this out. I went to a coffee shop this morning. I drove 8 minutes to the next appointment, which was that off-market condo that I just saw. And now I drove another 3 minutes, and I'm at this coffee shop that I had put on my schedule like 2 weeks ago when we had the conversation that we need to meet and see how we can work together. So I've got a little bit of time to fill here making this episode for you, meeting up with him for about 30 minutes. We've got a hard stop at 12:30, and I'm showing up to this too. I'm seeing what opportunities there are. I'm going to stay in touch. I'm going to add him to my email list. I'm going to stay top of mind. I'm going to send him referrals. He'll hopefully send me some as we meet people in our day-to-day businesses that can help each other out. And then this afternoon, I'm going to go show up again. I'm going to coaching. And I'm not saying this to brag. I'm just saying that you have to show up. How are you going to be successful? How are you going to accomplish your goals if you don't show up to them? You've got to, like for the people who want to be in the Olympics, they've got to show up to the pre-trials or whatever, the competitions. You can't just go straight to the Olympics. There are prerequisites. It's like taking an upper level class in college. You've got to take the 3 or 4 classes before those prerequisites, before you can take the upper level classes. And that's maybe not the best example, but you usually don't just walk on to play professional football or basketball. You're usually playing for a long time. You usually have played, practiced. There are those stories of, like, I don't know what the term is, red shirt freshmen who just walk on and they're just naturally talented or something. 98% of success is just showing up. So make sure, ask yourself that question in your life. Are you showing up? Are you showing up to events? Are you showing up to networking things that could expand your business? Are you showing up for friends who need you? Are you showing up for family members? Are you showing up to coffee meetings like I am right here to meet up with people who can potentially help you with your business? Are you showing up to the trainings? Are you showing up when it's time to lead generate, when it's time to make some calls, when it's time to follow up? Are you showing up? That is the question for today. And if you are, great. You're going to start to see some results. You're going to know that things that are starting to happen because you're showing up. Are you kind of not seeing anything happening in your life? Ask yourself if you're showing up. Maybe you're not showing up. And in that case, you need to do more, take more action, go to more events, make more follow-up calls, send more emails, post more on social media, do more stuff. I'm super excited and super grateful because those of you who know my journey know when I got into real estate, I joined a wholesaling company, and I was reading my journal. Something new that I started doing is I write my journal for the day, and I read the journal from this exact day a year ago. A year ago, I was banging my head against the wall, and my journal reflected that I was frustrated. I was like, hey, I don't get it. I'm doing everything I'm supposed to do. I'm going to networking events. I'm making phone calls. I'm following up. I'm making offers on properties, and I'm not closing as many deals as I want. I think I was closing maybe like 1 a month. Sometimes a deal would fall through. I was really struggling with it, and I wasn't making the money that I wanted to make. I wanted to make 6 figures with the company that I was with, and I was doing the numbers, and it just wasn't looking like it was going to happen, even if I were to somehow do 4 deals, 5 deals a month. And then it dawned on me that if I get my real estate license, the commissions are higher. I'm not making 20% of a $10,000 wholesale fee at that point. I'm making 3% of the sales price, which could be a $200,000 home, a $400,000 home, $500,000 home. Sky's the limit, right? So fast forward a year later, I actually have 4 deals set to close this month. If all goes well and everything goes according to plan, I should have 4 transactions. It should net me about like $21,000 in commission. There are some fees and stuff that'll go out to my broker and my productivity coach. I'll obviously have to put aside some money for taxes, but this would be my biggest personal month of actually like money moving into my bank account that wasn't from like a savings account, like legitimately new money coming in. And that's just where I'm at. I know it's exciting for me because it's a new ceiling. It's like a high score on a video game. You want to beat the score. I know some of you listening, that may sound amazing. And others of you listening, you might be like, oh, that's cute. I remember when I was there only making that amount of money. It's nice to compare to each other sometimes to get motivated and to push more. But there's nothing quite like competing with yourself and just seeing how far you can push yourself, how far you can go. So I'm excited. I mean, I want to make 6 figures minimum each year. But then I look over to the agents and the investors I know making $500,000, close to $1 million in commissions or in wholesale fees or in profits from flips and stuff. And then I get hungry and I want to do that. But yeah, 98% of success is showing up. Obviously, that last 2%, I would say, is following up. When you meet people, when you have good conversations, stay in touch. Don't just let that fall to the wayside, right? You want to make sure you stay connected, see how you can help each other out, and, opportunities will come up where you guys are able to send business to each other. You're able to partner on things. I am doing a first-time homebuyer workshop with a lender that I met recently. We've got 4 or 5 Eventbrite orders already. It's a free workshop. It's going to attract people who are looking to buy homes this year. We're going to add as much value as possible. We're going to have people on our email list. They're going to stay in touch. And then 3, 4, 5 months down the road when they're ready to buy that house, if they felt that we were valuable and that we came from the heart, which is what we do. That's what I do. I don't try to sell stuff. I try to inform people and I try to help them out however I can, whenever they're ready. If they want to work with me, that's like my whole thing. Then they're going to reach out to me and we're going to do business and they're going to be happy and they're going to send me referrals and life will be amazing for everybody. If I don't follow up, if I don't add value, if I try to pitch people, if I try to hard sell them, they're going to unsubscribe from my emails. They're not going to follow up with me. They're not going to answer my phone they're not going to answer the phone call whenever I give them a ring. They're not going to reply to my texts. So you got to lead with value, add value to others. That's it. If you guys have questions, comments, concerns, reach out to me, chrisbello09 on Instagram. I am not as active on there. I post a lot on my stories. I don't post a lot on the actual posts. I need to get better at that. I've been so focused on the real estate stuff that I occasionally just turn the camera on or turn on my stories to make sure I capture something and people know that I am still in the game and I'm still hustling every day. But of course there comes a point, there's a sweet balance between documenting the journey and then actually going on the journey. Some people document, they post creative stuff and they're not doing anything. Other people are doing a ton of stuff and they don't post at all, so it looks like they're doing nothing. I think it's good to be somewhere in the middle where people can see you're taking action. They know what you're up to some extent, but you're also deep into the work where you time block. You don't get distracted. If you post something on Instagram and you get 1 million likes and comments, you're not constantly looking at your phone every 5 minutes. You're actually putting your phone face down or putting it in Do Not Disturb, getting the work done, and then setting aside a little break where you can reply to people and comment and reply to messages and send voice texts and stuff like that to people who you're trying to stay connected with and that you've got to communicate with. With that being said, I will talk to you all in the next episode of the Entrepreneur Motivation Podcast. And thanks so much for tuning in. You guys are the best. Podcast continues to grow. Life is continuing to be amazing. And there's new opportunities every single day that await us. Catch you all in the next episode. Peace.